So welcome to Jumbo IS and welcome to lecture number 10 of Science and Technology in this lecture series called Prelims Powerplay 2026. Now you all know, if you have been following this lecture series for quite some time, that with this we will finish Science and Technology, the entire Science and Technology portion. But remember, we are currently in phase 1. Okay, so all the subjects that we have covered so far for our prelims examination, that is just phase 1. After the next topic, we'll begin phase 2, and phase 2 is going to be a little bit more aggressive, okay, because we'll cover a lot of topics which are relevant for your prelims examination, both from current affairs as well as static portion. So if you haven't joined this lecture series, join now, because through this lecture series we will cover all current affairs for UPSC prelims, but we'll also cover the associated static topics as well. Okay, to join this lecture series, well, you would have to register on our app or on our website, and the links to both are given in the comment section below. You just have to click on the link, and then from there you can register for this lecture series, where you'll get access to notes, doubt sessions, WhatsApp groups, and test series as well. Okay, so today is lecture number 10 from Science and Technology portion, and this lecture will be dedicated to Nobel Prize in Medicine. So we are going to discuss the Nobel Prize in Medicine. Okay, now this year, Nobel Prize for Medicine was given for the field of discovery of peripheral immune system. Now listen to me very carefully, because if you'll understand this background, then the entire lecture would be very easy for you to understand. Okay. Now you all know about our immune system. Okay. Our immune system basically protects us, defends us against the attack of foreign invaders in our body. What can be these foreign invaders? Well, these can be viruses, bacteria, fungal infections. So all types of microorganisms that invade our body, get into our private space, well, they are attacked by our immune system. So our immune system, as the name suggests, gives us immunity. Okay, it protects us against these foreign invaders in our body. But our immune system or our immunity cells are designed in such a way that they will attack anything that they see. They will attack anything that they see. Now, if they'll see a bacteria or a virus, they will attack that. But they will also attack your own body cells and tissues. And some people have this condition when your own immune system attacks your own body. These are known as autoimmune diseases. Okay? But autoimmune diseases are not so prevalent. It happens only in a few cases. Majority of us are protected from this. In majority of us, well, our immune system only attacks bacteria, viruses, foreign invaders, and not our own body. Though our immune system is programmed to attack everything, but something is stopping our immune system from attacking our own body. What is that something? That something was discovered by these 3 scientists who got the Nobel Prize in the field of medicine. And that something is peripheral immune system. For this discovery, they got this prize. And because they got this prize in the year of 2025, so for Prelims 2026, it is important to understand what this something is. What is the science behind this? Okay, so let's quickly talk about this. So let's begin. So Science and Technology, lecture number 10, Nobel Prize in Physiology, or as they say, medicine. Physiology or medicine. Okay, now why was this prize given? Okay, so let's talk about why was this in the news. So Mary E. Brunkow, Fred Ramsdell, and Shimon Sakaguchi have been awarded Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine for 2025 for their discoveries concerning peripheral immune tolerance. Okay, now to understand this, you need to understand certain basic facts about our immune system. Certain basic facts. If you really want to understand why were they given this prize, what is this peripheral immune tolerance, you need to understand these basic facts. Okay, so we'll talk about our immune system. Okay, now our immunity cells, okay, the cells that belong to our immune system, you all must have read about them in the school, in your schools, right? We all have studied this. There are RBCs in the blood, red blood cells, then there are white blood cells, then there are platelets. Remember that biology class in our schools? Okay, so blood can be divided into these 3 categories: RBCs, WBCs, and platelets. RBCs are important for transporting oxygen throughout your blood. Platelets are important for coagulation, okay, drying up your blood. Whenever there is an injury, your blood doesn't flow out of your system, it stops. But more importantly, relevant for this particular lecture is WBCs, which is responsible for immunity. WBCs are basically responsible for your immune system. Now, one particular category of WBCs are called T cells. So whenever you hear the term or see the term T cells, basically we are talking about those cells which belong to our immune system, which are immunity cells basically. So T cells means immunity cells. Clear? Now, our immune system has two tolerance types, two types of immune systems. Central immune system or central tolerance and peripheral immune system or peripheral tolerance. Both of them involve T cells, but there are different types of T cells. Different types of T cells in central tolerance, different types of T cells in peripheral tolerance. Okay, just remember this, immune system is of two types, central, peripheral. Okay, now if we talk about central tolerance, central immune system. Now this central tolerance happens in this gland called thymus. It is somewhere here in your chest area, the thymus gland. Okay, a small gland in the lymphatic system that produces and trains T cells. Okay, so this gland called thymus in your chest area produces T cells. Okay, now thymus is a very important organ because the kind of T cells it produces are called self-reactive T cells. Okay, now what happens in your thymus is that a lot of self-reactive T cells are produced. These self-reactive T cells will attack anything in their path, whether it's a bacteria, virus, or your own body. They will attack anything. So it's the job of thymus to train these self-reactive T cells to not attack your body. So thymus plays a very important role. Those T cells which will attack your own body will be removed by thymus, and only those which will only attack foreign invaders would be circulated in the blood. So thymus plays a key role. Clear? But sometimes when your thymus gland is not functioning properly or less than optimum, then some of these self-reactive T cells, these berserkers who will attack anything in their path, sometimes some of them get leaked into your blood. Okay, so some of those T cells, self-reactive T cells which will attack anything, get leaked in your blood, and then they start attacking your own body cells, tissues, destroy them. Okay, however, this process is not perfect. Some of these self-reactive T cells escape from the thymus and enter the body's circulation and tissues known as the periphery. So central immune system is the thymus gland and rest of your body is peripheral, where all the tissues and organs and cells are there. So some of these self-reactive T cells get leaked and reach other parts of your body and they start destroying them. It's the job of the thymus to stop them, but sometimes thymus fails. And when these cells get leaked, immune system attacks your own body and you get autoimmune diseases. There are various types of autoimmune diseases. Okay, now what happens in autoimmune diseases? Your own immune system attacks your own body. This is what happens when you have autoimmune diseases, and many people have them. Okay, this is the problem of central tolerance. Clear? Now, the thing is that, well, autoimmune diseases are not so prevalent. Autoimmune diseases do not affect everyone. Majority of us don't have these self-reactive T cells affecting our tissues and cells. So what is stopping them? Remember in the beginning of the lecture, I told you that there is something that is stopping our immune system from attacking our own body, right? What is that something that stops these self-reactive T cells from attacking your own body? Well, that something lies in your peripheral tolerance, peripheral immune system, near your body, near your tissue cells in different parts of your body. Okay, periphery means away from thymus gland. Okay, once in the periphery, additional control is needed to prevent escaped self-reactive T cells from attacking the body. Some of these T cells, self-reactive T cells, escape. So something is there in your peripheral immune system that is stopping them from attacking your own body. And there is a different category of T cells which stop these self-reactive T cells. These are known as regulatory T cells. So remember, there are two types of T cells: self-reactive T cells and regulatory T cells. When self-reactive T cells leak into your peripheral system and they are attacking your immune system, regulatory T cells stop them. Now, if your body does not have enough regulatory T cells, you will have autoimmune diseases. But if your body has a lot of regulatory T cells, your immune system will not attack you. Okay, so that something is this regulatory T cells, a different category of T cells, also known as Treg cells. Now, Treg cells were discovered by Shimon Sakaguchi, one of the Nobel Prize winner, okay, which stop these self-reactive T cells. Clear? These patrolling regulatory T cells identify self-reactive T cells and stop them from attacking our own tissues. Okay, Treg cells act as security guards, protecting the body from its own overreactive immune responses. Clear? So this is that something. Make sense? Now, what will decide whether you have regulatory T cells or not? Some people who have autoimmune diseases don't have enough regulatory T cells. Okay, so what decides whether you have regulatory T cells or not, or whether you have enough regulatory T cells, these security guards in your system or not? Well, there is a gene in your DNA. Okay, that gene decides whether your body will produce these Treg cells, regulatory T cells. And the name of that gene is called FOXP3 gene. And this FOXP3 gene was discovered by the other two Nobel Prize winners, Mary Brunkow and Fred Ramsdell. So this FOXP3 gene was discovered by them. Okay, what is this gene? A gene which controls the development and function of regulatory T cells in your body. And if this gene becomes faulty, it mutates. If there is a mutation in the FOXP3 gene, regulatory T cells do not form properly. They are not created. And once they are not created, this can lead to autoimmune diseases, especially one particular kind of autoimmune disease called IPEX. Okay, immune dysfunction. P stands for polyendocrinopathy, and E stands for enteropathy, and X stands for X type. The full form would be given in your notes, but most people identify this autoimmune disease as IPEX only. Okay, if this gene is mutated, it is not performing properly, regulatory T cells are not formed, and you get autoimmune diseases. This discovery was made by the other two Nobel Prize winners. Okay, now why is this discovery significant? Surely, if this discovery was not significant, they wouldn't have gotten this Nobel Prize. But this discovery was significant. Why? Because it helps us find the cure to autoimmune diseases as well as cancer. How? Significance of this discovery. For autoimmune diseases, in a patient suffering from such diseases, increasing the number of regulatory T cells can help significantly. So there is a treatment available. And what about cancer? So we have found a cure for autoimmune diseases, not found a cure yet, but we understand how can this cure be made. How about cancer? What happens in cancer? Well, when you have cancer, your body has cancerous cells, right? Now your immune system is trained to kill these cancerous cells. But your immune system does not kill these cancer cells. Why? Because it was found in a recent research that cancerous cells are surrounded by these Treg cells, regulatory T cells, surrounded by a lot of these security guards. So the reason why cancerous cells survive is because they are surrounded, they have a protective cover. It's like you have Z plus security of these Treg cells, security guards. They're surrounded by a lot of Treg cells. And that is why your own immune system does not attack cancerous cells. Now, what if in cancer patients, you reduce these Treg cells? So your own immune system attacks cancerous cells and you get cured without the need for chemotherapy, radiotherapy. That would be significant. Yes, that is why these people got the Nobel Prize, because their discovery can help find cure for autoimmune diseases, cancer treatment as well. Make sense? Okay. All right. Now, just some information about T cells. You have understood this entire phenomena, entire something that I talked about in the beginning of the lecture. Some basic information about T cells, because this year's Nobel Prize was related to T cells. So some extra information can also be asked in your prelims examination with respect to T cells. So let's talk about that extra information. Okay. So about T cells, you know this, that T cells are a type of WBCs, white blood cells. Okay. Now, there are different types of T cells. Cytotoxic T cells. These cytotoxic T cells kills cells infected with viruses and bacteria. They also destroy tumor cells, cancerous cells. So it is the cytotoxic T cells that destroy viruses, bacteria, and cancerous cells. Okay. Then there are helper T cells. They don't destroy anything. Helper T cells basically send signals. They are scouts. They send signals to other parts of your body to produce T cells to destroy and give a coordinated response to your disease. So they don't kill, they just send signals that we need this many T cells, we need to reduce T cells, all of that. Then there are regulatory T cells, which we have discussed about, Treg cells. And in the end, well, there are T cell receptors. Now, what are receptors? Well, on every T cell, there is a specific protein. This protein is responsible for identifying the enemy. Now, if that enemy is a bacteria or a virus, this protein will identify that on the T cell. If that enemy is cancerous cells, this protein will identify it. Now, this protein, which is found on the surface of T cells, is known as T cell receptors. Simple. So this is some basic information, right? And that would be all. With that, we conclude today's lecture. And with that, we also conclude science and technology portion of phase 1. Now, after this, you will have a test. Okay, the test is coming soon. Be prepared, revise all your previous 10 lectures. You will have a test, and this is going to be a little difficult one. Okay, the previous tests were a little easy so that you gain some confidence, but now this test is going to be a little difficult. So be prepared, brace yourself for this, brace yourself for the impact. Okay, and by the way, those who haven't joined this Prelims Powerplay lecture series, let me tell you, it is really beneficial because we are covering all those topics that have a high chance of featuring in your prelims examination. And that includes both current affairs as well as static topics. So if you haven't joined this lecture series till now is the right time while we are still in phase 1. Because once we are in phase 2 or phase 3, then it will be too late. So now is the time. Join now. All right. With that, I conclude today's session, but I promise to see you again with another topic in this lecture series called Prelims Powerplay. Thank you, everyone.